the duties of
the office of
the
mayor of the city of New York.
the mayor of the city of New York.
He was sworn in 45 days ago. Half of New York was watching. Half of New York was hoping. And now, the same people who put him in office are the ones demanding answers. Not his opponents, not the Republicans, not the landlords or the billionaires or the hedge fund managers he promised to take on. His own people. So before we talk about what Mamdani did or did not do, ask yourself one question. When a mayor loses the left, the center, and part of his own administration in 45 days, is that a failure of leadership? Or is it something else entirely?
And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the moi, I was elected as a democratic socialist and I will govern as a democratic socialist.
New York City did not just elect a mayor, it elected an idea. The idea that a city this broken, this unequal, this exhausted could be run differently. And for about 72 hours after January 1st, 2026, it felt like it might actually happen. Then the first executive orders dropped, and the conversation changed. Fast. Within his first hours in office, Mamdani revoked the anti-Semitism definition used by the city, the same one designed to identify and prevent hate crimes. His explanation? The definition was too broad. It restricted criticism of Israel. Maybe he is right about that, but here's the question nobody in City Hall seems willing to answer. If you know that anti-Semitic hate crimes account for more than half of all hate crimes reported in New York City, why is the first thing you do on day one remove a protection? Even if the policy was imperfect, was that the hill you wanted to die on in hour one? And then came the appointments. And the appointments had histories. And the histories had tweets. And the tweets said things that made even his supporters go quiet. Here's the part where this stops being a political story and becomes something more uncomfortable. Because the scandals that hit Mamdani in his first 45 days did not come from his enemies. They came from his own team. His tenant protection chief had old posts calling home ownership a weapon of white supremacy. His administration knew about those posts before the appointment. They appointed her anyway. And when the backlash came, Mamdani did not address the substance. He defended her record. Which raises an obvious question. If you are the Robin Hood mayor, the man who takes from the top and gives to the rest, how do you explain appointing someone whose public record suggests contempt for the very middle class you are trying to save? Then there is the aide, a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, working for a Democratic Socialist mayor, publicly raging on social media about being denied access to airport lounges and business class seats. About having to sit near, and these are effectively his words, ordinary travelers. The phrase limousine socialist was not invented to describe this situation, but it fits so perfectly it is almost poetic. And on February 1st, Mamdani's office celebrated World Hijab Day. A woman in New York City can choose to wear the hijab. That is her right. That is what freedom looks like. But in Tehran, on that same day, women face imprisonment and violence for refusing to wear one. And Mamdani said nothing about that. Not one word. Masih Alinejad, one of the most prominent voices of the Iranian women's freedom movement, addressed him directly. His office did not respond. Is this a mayor who stands for bodily autonomy, or only for certain bodies? If you are watching this city shift in real time and want to follow every development, subscribe now and hit the bell icon. Because what comes next is going to be even harder to watch.
And it's scary to me, you know? My family deserved everything. They worked hard for everything. There's no reason for them to be gone. They worked as hard as they can in order for us to have a great life.
When one community feels betrayed, it is a controversy. When three communities feel betrayed simultaneously, it is a pattern. Jewish New Yorkers are asking whether this mayor will protect them. Iranian American activists are asking whether this mayor sees them. Progressive activists are asking whether this mayor sold them out by endorsing Kathy Hochul, the same governor blocking his Tax the Rich plan just weeks into his term. And the NYC Council is now holding oversight hearings on his administration. 45 days in. Here is the uncomfortable question this city needs to sit with. When this many different groups feel let down by the same man at the same time, is that a coincidence? Or is the image finally catching up with the reality? Now here is what the critics will not tell you. Every mayor who ever tried to change something real faced this exact moment. The moment when the weight of the office meets the ideology of the campaign, and something has to give. Mamdani is governing a city of 8 million people with 8 million different definitions of justice. Maybe the Hijab Day post was a miscalculation, not a betrayal. Maybe the Hochul endorsement was strategy, not surrender. Maybe one aide's airport rants say nothing about an entire administration. Maybe. But here is the question that stays with you after all of this. Is New York erupting because Mamdani is failing, or because he is doing exactly what he said he would do, and the city is realizing for the first time what that actually means in practice? 45 days, this much noise, and he is still standing. Comment below, is Mamdani being held to an impossible standard, or did he earn every single one of these headlines? Look. If you're tired of watching politicians play games with your city, you're in the right place. We're covering every move, every fight, every lie they think we won't catch. Hit that subscribe button because New York deserves the truth, not the spin. And those videos on screen, they explain so much about what you just watched. Worth your time. See you on the next one.